Prices at Art of Animation have gone up. Is the cute Disney theming and Skyliner access enough to justify the cost? Hey everybody, it's Chris for AllEars TV and AllEars.net. We're working our way through Disney World's hotels to decide which hotels are the best and the worst, and which ones are perfect for you. Today we're talking about Art of Animation Resort, and we got this info straight from you. And the cast, they have their opinions on this low-cost but highly themed hotel.
Art of Animation did not exist when I was a kid, but if it did, it probably would have been my top pick for where to stay. And I really think that it's only gotten better with what benefits that it brings. I think that it has really awesome theming. If you're a kid, I just can't imagine not loving getting to go to the Cozy Cone pool and see everything for cars there. And also, it has the Skyliner. And so it has a great, fun transportation to get over to Hollywood Studios and Epcot.
Art of Animation is another one of Disney World's value hotels, featuring some of the lowest priced rooms, including suites. It's connected to Pop Century via a walkway with a Disney Skyliner station in the center, and, like Pop Century, Art of Animation has a motel vibe. The resort is themed to Disney animation with scenes of a variety of classic Disney animated films like Cars, Finding Nemo, The Lion King, and The Little Mermaid.
My first impressions of Art of Animation, honestly, I really liked it. I think it's fun. It's one of those that I'm somebody who sometimes when I come on a really long Disney trip, I can appreciate a hotel that maybe isn't overly Disney themed. But then I also am someone who, when I first get on my Disney trip and I get to see like the massive resorts that are so colorful and they have like the huge statues and they're reminiscent of your favorite movies and things, I get pretty excited. So my first impressions were good. It is huge, that it's hard to ignore how big Art of Animation is. And that it is, when it comes to food and things and pools, it is closer to maybe like a value resort, which is fine. But the prices don't always match up with the value resort feel of the food and things.
Art of Animation is a huge hotel. On the hotel grounds, you can find giant versions of characters as well as cute scenes to walk through. But the buildings can feel quite spread out, and the size of the grounds can have you walking quite a distance from your room to the main lobby.
Look, if walking is not your thing, try your best to stay as far away as possible from the Little Mermaid rooms at Art of Animation. Ariel wants you to be a part of your world, and we're talking about a whole other world in a different galaxy far, far away. Star Wars branding.
The Skyliner is really nice, but depending on where your room is on the resort property, it can feel like a trek walking from the Skyliner station to your room at the end of the night. After a very long park day, you probably were there at park opening, you probably rope dropped and stayed until after fireworks if it was Magic Kingdom or Epcot. You probably did everything in Disney World in one day, and now you're walking from the Skyliner station all the way to maybe a Little Mermaid room, all the way back in the back. That's a long walk.
I just can't abide by those giant statues. The giant statues definitely stress me out. I get that it's supposed to be a immersive kind of situation there, and maybe you feel more like you're in the movies if the statues of the characters are huge. I don't really know what the thought process was behind adding in those as decoration. I don't find that atmosphere very relaxing, especially at night. Imagine at night you're trying to go back to your room after a long day at the parks. You're just minding your own business and you look up and there's this massive Disney villain just looming over you. I don't find that relaxing. I want my resort to be relaxing, and that part of it definitely is off-putting.
When it comes to the convenience of the Skyliner, it gets you to Epcot or Hollywood Studios with a connection at the Caribbean Beach Skyliner station. Buses don't always run to Epcot and Hollywood Studios as a result, which can get complicated when the weather shuts down the Skyliner and the buses have long lines.
The Skyliner is a gondola type transportation that will get you to a bunch of different resorts as well as Epcot and Hollywood Studios. Oftentimes, if it's just you and your family, we're talking like 3-4 people, you get your own gondola and you're just like, hey, this is great. I'm just gonna head on by myself with my family. There's no strangers. I don't have to worry about anybody breathing on me other than my cousin. Stop breathing on me, cousin Larry. I don't have a cousin Larry.
Now there is something to keep in mind with being on a Skyliner resort. Weather can shut down the Skyliner. So if it is thundering, this is a pretty big resort. So if you go there and it's closed, it's gonna take you a bit of a hike to get over to the buses. And I know we have seen reviews in the past where they've gone over to the buses and then the Skyliner has been back up so the buses aren't running. So it's kind of going back and forth and back and forth. And that can definitely be a pain.
Standard rooms have 2 queen beds or 1 king bed with a Little Mermaid theme, and Art of Animation also features family suites for up to 6 people, including a bedroom with 1 queen-size bed, 1 double-size convertible table bed, 1 double-size sleeper sofa, a living room, 2 bathrooms, and a kitchenette. The suites are themed to Cars, The Lion King, or Finding Nemo, and they typically will cost you around $400 to $800 per night, while standard rooms usually cost between $200 to $400.
I took a class in like the 8th grade on the use of PowerPoint and Excel and all that good jazz, and I did make a PowerPoint presentation about the Lion King family suites at Disney World. And I wish that was a joke, but I am remembering right now that I really did do that. So I apparently really love the suites. They're really nice, and I think they are good and roomy, and they're very fun, especially if you have younger kiddos who love to be like fully immersed, or they love those particular movies. I think it's tons of fun. I loved the car suite that I got to stay in. There was one nice bed, there was a pull-out couch, and then one of the beds that pull out of the wall. It was plenty of space for all of us, and I really liked it. I thought it was fun, and because it was multiple adults staying together, we were able to divide the room, and the price wasn't that bad, all things considered.
Like Emma said, the suites are a great option for families. My family has stayed there multiple times in past years on trips because we liked that little bit of an extra space in the rooms. We're not all on top of each other. However, at this point, if we're looking at the actual room rates, they're not that far off from like Port Orleans or Coronado Springs. So, I mean, if you're willing to just go up a little bit higher in price, you could move up a level up to the moderate resorts. So that's something to consider too, where yes, it is a value resort, but it's kind of pricey for a value compared to everything else. And if you're already paying that much, you could bump up your budget just a little bit more and end up in the moderate category.
I don't know if people would consider the prices value prices. They have been going up. The prices at this point are getting close to being moderate resort prices. So I may as well just pick a moderate resort to be at, and I'm not going to be scarred and worrying about the characters knocking on my window at night because they can reach it no matter what floor I'm on. Not a fan.
There are 3 different pools, with the Big Blue Pool being the single largest hotel pool in all of Disney World. And for food, there's basic theme park food from Landscape of Flavors or bar service at the drop-off pool bar. You can always walk over to Pop Century's food options too, but they aren't that much different.
I think that the pools here, themed after Finding Nemo and Cars, are both really, really amazing. I don't know that I would say the food here is the best. However, it's a value resort. So I do think that you have to kind of keep that in mind. It's not going to have the more expansive table service that a moderate or a deluxe is going to have. That being said, you're on the Skyliner, so it is easy enough to get over to some of the parks. You can get over to Riviera, to the Caribbean. There's a few different options that you can do that are going to give you more expansive dining potential.
One thing about me is that I love good food at resorts, and unfortunately, Art of Animation really doesn't super have that. They only have 2 dining options, which is the Landscape of Flavors and the drop-off pool bar. And it's not that it's bad food, it's just your typical pool bar and food court food. It's just really, there's nothing to stand out to me. There's really no strong contenders for things that I think about when I'm there.
Okay, so what do All Ears readers think? Reader Beth Joy said, I love this resort. For someone who wants to be immersed in Disney, this resort hits the mark. It's got such a fun theme with the Little Mermaid, Nemo, Cars, and the Lion King. Being on the Skyliner is a real highlight. It's a fun way to get to and from the parks, and I love having easy access to other resorts as well.
The theming is just fun. Like, the art of animation, that's probably gonna be your most Disney-fied resort, right? Because you're staying at a bunch of different resorts and they've all got like subtle hints here and there, like penguins in the chandelier to celebrate, Mary Poppins, or, like just subtle hints. This is like, welcome to Disney. It is. This is where if you're like, I want to take some fun Disney, emphasis on Disney photos, I mean, this would be it.
My family used to go there. We used to stay there in the past because we did love that big theming. We would always stay in the Cars suites because I know I'm weird. I like the Cars movies and I think Cars 2 was really good. But we would always stay in the Cars suite and we loved walking around and just seeing all of the characters. I think the theming is super fun. That's what makes it Disney.
On the flip side, an anonymous reader said Art of Animation is way too expensive for what it is. Stayed in family suite, not impressed. And reader NK Wyatt said that they didn't like the crowded rooms, long walks to and from the food court, buses, or gift shops, poor selection, not much variety in the food court.
One thing you are going to want to keep in mind is that though Art of Animation is a value resort, it is a pretty expensive value resort. That price has gone up pretty significantly, especially recently. So you are going to be paying much more than you are for any of the all-star resorts.
Unfortunately for me and you and everyone else involved, if you're looking for a lot of food options, Art of Animation is not it. It is not the place to go and you are not going to find anything there. It's heartbreaking, but it's not the one.
The Art of Animation pros and cons. The pros: you get adorable Disney theming with Skyliner access and suite rooms are available for larger families. The cons: the rooms are pricey for a value hotel and the buildings are really spread out. Plus, there's only one food location. Still not sure? Let's get some final thoughts.
When I was younger, I really enjoyed Art of Animation. It was my family's hotel. We loved to stay there and we didn't want to stay anywhere else. I think it's super fun theming. Kids are gonna love it, especially if one of those movies is their favorite. It's super fun. Suites are nice for a little bit extra room. However, I do now realize, now that I'm an adult and paying for things, they can be a little bit more expensive than the value resort price you were probably thinking about paying.
Thinking about Art of Animation, I really like the feel of it. I like how it is very Disney and I love the characters and I like the rooms that I've gotten to stay in the past, in the family suites. I think they're very fun and kind of kitschy and Disney-y. So I really love those. Outside of that, there's not a lot for me that stands out at Art of Animation. It's hard to ignore that price, especially because there is only 2 food locations. There's only 2. And they're not great ones. And the drop-off pool bar, it's kind of stretching it to count that as a food location. So I'm being generous by saying that.
Art of Animation, is it a kids resort? Maybe. There are a lot of kids there. If you like Disney animation and you want to have a fully immersive Disney experience, could be the place for you.
Overall, I think that Art of Animation is a really, really fun hotel. I think that the family suites are a great option if you are going with a larger group. If, however, I had to choose a value resort to stay at, I would probably choose Pop Century over Art of Animation. It might not have quite the same level of theming. However, it is usually less expensive and you are still getting that added benefit of staying on the Skyliner resort, so just to keep in mind that if you are looking for something slightly less expensive, Pop Century nearby might be the better option.
When people ask me to describe Art of Animation Resort, I always go, oh, it's super cute. Like, that's the vibe, right? And I know everybody knows exactly what I'm saying when I say, oh, it's super cute. Because there's a little hint of like, oh, it's fun, and also like it ends with a little condescension because it's just very Disney. Which again, if you're going for that really, really big Disney vibe, this is the resort, right? Because you've got these giant Disney things screaming at you saying, look at me, I'm Disney! So, I think the art of animation is really cute.
If you have a strict hotel budget, but you want to stay at a Disney World hotel, Art of Animation may be a good option for you, especially if you need a suite. But if you'd rather shell out some extra cash for more amenities, you probably want to look at the next tier of hotel. Of course, keep in mind that what's good for one person might not be good for you, but that's why we research and review to help you make the best decision for you. Want more opinions? Do a search on AllEars.net for Art of Animation. The wealth of info you'll find is staggering. Have you stayed there? Let us know about it in the comments. This is Chris for AllEars.net. See you next time.